Delivery is done, and now we're ready for a drive. Let's go drive it. All right, so we just literally officially picked up the Model Y Standard. The first thing that you want to do is set up on your phone. So you go through all the delivery stuff, you press and agree to everything on your phone, and then basically you can link it up with your phone. Honestly, I always lose these. I never use them. I just lose them. So I try to keep them safe. I try to label them, but I end up actually leaving it like this because I just don't use it. My phone is now connected to the car, and then you can see explore your Model Y. So I'm going to go ahead and adjust it to fit me. I'm going to save it for this car. And then the mirrors. So you can still, the internal part does move, but of course the exterior one, you have to do it manually. So I'm going to go ahead and do this one. Just adjusting it just like that. I like that. And then of course you can, this is the weird part. You basically, there we go. And then it just pushes down and it just kind of cranks. Boom, that's it. So we're good. And then the next one is home page. Should I take this out? Oh yeah, homepage layout, set vehicle functions. This is all fine, so I don't have to do anything here. Navigation, this is pretty familiar for all Tesla owners. Charging location, also familiar. This is great though, honestly, for anybody that hasn't ever been in a Tesla, and this is their first one. I love this. I think this is very helpful. I wish I had it when I first got mine, right? So charging location, status bar, talks about all the things that you need to know. Temp control right here. Dynamic settings, chill, standard for acceleration, deceleration, standard and reduced. And then full self-driving, I actually turned that on already. Shift gears, you can press the brake pedal and it'll automatically do that. And then this is how you slide up, slide reverse, and then you could hold to get into park. And then function keys right here, you got high beam, low beam, white burst, and then this is the horn. And then you got Autopilot, just click on this, voice commands and grok, and then rear view camera right here. Hazard warning light right up here. And this is something that a lot of people don't know, but you can actually control this. There's a P, R, and D right there. I think that still works. So shift using the roof console. So you could do that if you need to, right? I don't know, maybe it's like still in setup mode, that's why. And that's it. That was actually very intuitive, so I'm very excited. I know I didn't have to go through that, but I wanted to show you what it is. And I think we're ready to drive for our first drive on the Standard. Let's not crash this thing. It's a little tight. So I have been driving for the past, I don't know, 6 months, right? The Model Y Launch Edition. So it is the first variant that they came out for the Juniper. It was only out for, I think, a month or two. But basically, it's an all-wheel drive premium. That's basically what it is, with a little bit of accelerator boost. But honestly, right off the bat, if I'm not thinking about the exterior or some of the, I guess, the other things, I would say it feels very, very similar. I'm going to try to be as honest as possible. I do prefer, maybe I'm just more used to it, but I do prefer the seat on the Model Y Premium, and it makes sense. I feel like it feels a little bit more rigid on the actual Standard, and all the cars that we've owned for the past 4 or 5 years have always been pleather. So the textile is actually the first one that I've owned in a while that's not like some sort of like a vegan leather or something like that. But honestly, it feels very, very similar. Like I don't really feel a whole lot different from the two. And I'm trying to see if it's like louder. I don't know. I can't really say that, right? Because like now I could have some bias around that because like I really need to measure it. So we really need to get a measuring tool and see like by closing this, were they able to keep the noise down? But then the other factor is these are single pane versus double pane on the Premium. So I mean like the Premium should be able to withstand, I think, noise a little bit better in my opinion, just because it has some of this extra added functionalities and features. But we'd have to measure it to say anything. But I'm impressed. Like I think a lot of people are unhappy about you know, the price difference, and I get it, because it's just a very, very small difference between getting a premium rear-wheel drive, right, which gets you all these other accessories and all this additional stuff, and this is only like 4K or 3 or 4K under, right, since the, you know, the finalization of the tax credit. But the steering wheel feels the same, in my opinion. Very, very similar. It feels very unique. Oh, so this is unique because I thought that nowadays out of Gigafactory and Fremont Factory, they actually do all the calibration for Autopilot, but this one is telling me that I actually need to calibrate my camera. So I guess it didn't come calibrated out of the factory on this case. So I'm not able to use, you know, any of the Autopilot or FSD functionality right now. So, okay, kind of pushing that a little bit. I'm in the neighborhood, so I'm not going to push it hard or anything like that. But accelerator, it's 6.8 seconds, so it's significantly slower than the launch edition. But you don't need that, right, if this is your daily driver. So I don't think a lot of people are going to complain about it not being 3.8 or whatever, right, or 3.2. I forget what the performance one is. But I like it, honestly. Other than the seats being a little bit more uncomfy, I think this is a very familiar one. I think if you have never owned the EV and this is your first one, I think you'll still be very much impressed. For people coming from an X or a Y or anything else, they might be slightly disappointed because they're already used to some of the other ones, right? Like if you had a Juniper Premium and you were getting this, you might feel definitely like a downgrade because there are a lot of features that you're probably already used to. Like, for example, the rear screen, the seat functionality on the side of the seats, RGB lights, auto steer if you don't like using FSD. So there's definitely a lot of differences that are subtle, and then some are not so subtle, especially the exterior. So, we're more still talking about the drive and stuff, but I got to be honest, it feels very, very familiar, and I like the familiarity between the two. So it doesn't feel that much different. Of course, I'm not an expert in it, but it does have different suspension. So this one has a much cheaper one, whereas the Premium has frequency-based suspension system. All right, when I hit this, that doesn't seem that bad, right? Like, honestly, I hit a little bump right there, and it really didn't feel that bad. Felt pretty good. I feel like I'm feeling a little bit more of that kind of road. Like I can feel the road underneath me a little bit more than the Premium. I feel like that kind of absorbs it a little bit better. But honestly, it's really not that different in my opinion. Yeah, so we're just kind of taking a really quick drive. This is our first drive ever. You see the screen right here. That actually means that it's basically calibrating the cameras. I haven't seen that in a long time, so I'm actually shocked because I thought that it was supposed to be basically ready prior, but it's okay. But that is the first drive, a short one, but we're really excited. I don't know if that says a lot about it in terms of, it was a very, very short drive, but we're here where we need to be. We're going to go ahead and grab some food real quick, and then after that, we're going to go to the warehouse and get this bumper done and all the other designs that we have planned. So stay tuned for a lot of standard content. We're going to get a lot out in the next few days. See you later.